Should have been recorded. Love it.
Oh,
And
dear.
if I knew this before the wedding, then
What? Then what?
Surely you got like a 90-day return window, right?
Watch what happens to you when this podcast goes down. When it goes offline, you watch what I.
Don't worry about her.
Why
We're
did you
witnesses.
record?
We are now.
Oh shit!
If
All right,
anything happens, we got evidence.
No, my wife is a lovely woman.
Yes, but you're not a lovely man. That's the problem.
I am. I'm misunderstood, Eddie. That's what it's. I'm just a misunderstood person.
Let us begin.
Vulture Network.
What's good, guys? Welcome back to Talking at the Movies. I'm Eddie Santonio.
Oh, I'm Mo. Sorry, I was waiting. I just got deja vu there. I was waiting for Salem to jump in.
Oh yeah, and it's your boy Salem here. And you know what? Funny enough, you say that because that's how I feel. I'm like, want to jump in, but
Hey,
I've just
jump in
been
where you
thrown
fit.
down.
So
All
this
right, here we
week,
go.
guys, we're going to be focusing purely on Zack Snyder's Justice League and also the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the new Disney Plus show. Something?
Can I just ask a quick question? Are you wrapped around in a towel or something?
It's a blanket.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a blanket.
Chilly.
Yeah, I'm
It's
literally
chilly,
the
so
same
he's
man.
wearing a t-shirt.
Just
Yeah,
like
but
you
it's
had the
nice.
audacity to cuss me with what I was wearing, but yet you look like you are dressed around wrapped up in a
comfy.
towel.
It's not a towel, it's a blanket. It's beautiful.
Blanket towel.
Anyway, yeah, so what do you want to start with? Should we get Falcon out of the way? We already had the debut episode, so Adam hasn't seen it yet, but it's first episode, so you know, no big spoilers.
We're gonna spoil it. We're gonna spoil it for Salem. Is he gonna find? Is he gonna
Nothing
find
really
out
happens.
that Falcon?
Yeah, nothing
is,
probably happens right in the first episode.
We find out that Falcon is like the son of the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, the illegitimate kid.
I've got to say, right? I've had this thought before, but is the Falcon? Is he like the most pointless and useless like superhero stroke technology type thing?
He was kind of just supposed to be the everyman, isn't it? That kind of guy that the audience could relate to.
Like his wings just expand and he can fly.
He pretty much could be replaced with anyone that could do martial arts, basically. Just get him out of the way.
Yes, that is also very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they tried to make him a little bit more exciting by having that little thing pop up from his
Little
back,
drone.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd take Winter Soldier. I'll take Falcon any day over fucking Hawkeye.
It's a very, very close contest.
Easily. Visually, a guy with a bow and arrow or a guy can fly with wings. I think the wings is a bit more cool, especially the action sequence. You wouldn't get out in the Hawkeye show. That opening sequence, man, that was cool. You got to admit that, Mo.
Oh yeah. I mean, the show was okay, right? I'm not bowled over by like this first episode like I was with WandaVision.
Oh, this was way better than WandaVision's first episode. What are you talking about?
What are you talking
That
about, Eddie?
Terrible, unfunny
No!
first episode of WandaVision.
First episode of WandaVision
No.
set the tone for the whole season.
I wish I had now seen this because at least then I could have jumped in and said, "All right, who's right here?"
It's obviously
I'll
me.
say one thing, Salem, that will make you instantly feel that I'm right. GSP is back. Remember when GSP was in Winter Soldier
Yes.
as Badrock fighting Captain America? He's back again in this.
So is he like throughout? Do you know if he's throughout?
He
the
might
season
pop
or-
up. He could pop up again, but he's not like the big bad. But he was in this, kicked Falcon's ass.
All right. Okay.
It's
Okay.
good seeing GSP back, and he's actually doing a bit more acting. He's actually getting better. Yeah.
Okay.
So Badrock, that was cool. Come on, Mo.
It was an okay opening episode.
What I like
Alright,
about
right,
it.
okay.
But I think we're going to see again what we saw with WandaVision, right? This is like part one of like a movie that they're feeding us over like 8 weeks or something.
Yeah, this is the opening
Yeah.
action sequence for a good
If, yeah,
blockbuster movie.
if there'd been like another hour and a half, I might have said, "Oh yeah, that was brilliant." I think that's the problem. You
What-
probably want to see more, right?
Is that what you felt? It's just the pacing was a bit slow for that first
Oh
episode.
no, but the pacing wasn't slow, but it's just like, I mean, they're not long episodes, right? What was it like?
was really short, yeah.
Yeah, so you really feel like you've started to watch a film because it is film level quality, right?
Oh yeah.
But it's like
Then it ends.
after the first half an hour,
As you get
it's
into
like
it.
the lights come up and you've got to leave the cinema.
Yeah, like get out. You're done.
And come back next week and we'll show you the next bit.
But
Wait,
what I do
how,
actually,
How long was it?
Half hour,
Half an
35
hour?
minutes or something.
Okay,
Like that, yeah. What I do like though is that after the big sort of bombastic action sequence, it got into like stuff that you never really see. And that's like their day-to-day lives of just how once they've done saving the world, when they have to go home to their families and visit the sister, and you just kind of and I found that funny. And it answered the question that we were asking
we
Mo
were talking
about whether
this.
they get paid. And they don't.
They don't.
Tony
They don't
Stark
get
is the
paid
cheapest
shit.
fucker in the world.
Well, it's not Tony's. It's not Tony's thing to pay. I mean, Shield, right? It's they were all recruited by Nick Fury.
Yeah, but Shield's gone, so you think
U.S. government.
You think Tony, being the one that puts them together, has the buildings and the stuff that they use, that you save the world. You think at least $1 million, just thank you. Just give them $1 million each.
Oh yeah,
But
that was good actually. Well, it wasn't even that, right? It was also the fact that people had been away for 5 years and suddenly come back, and that was screwing them over as well, right? Because the bank goes, "You've had no income for the last 5 years." And you can really imagine a real life bank actually saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even when you know that and you're an Avenger, and the guy knows it. He's like, "Can I take a picture with you?" Everything, and he's like, yeah. So no, you can't have a loan.
He's like, "Are you serious?" Yes. Yeah. We also got to talk about what's his name? The Winter Soldier, Bucky. I thought his storyline was really cool, right? When did it click for you? What was happening? As in, like, you know, he's hanging out with the old man.
Yeah.
And he's obviously like
he's probably responsible.
Yeah.
I think it's when he went to his house.
Yes. As soon as he left the chick he was on a date with, and he walks like to the guy's flat, and all of a sudden you're like, "Oh my god, are you shitting me?
You killed another one, and you're hanging out with a guy." Oh, there's this old man that he hangs out with, Salem, this old Chinese guy. And the guy was just talking about his son who died mysteriously many years ago. And pretty obvious laid out that Bucky's the one that killed his kid. So why is he hanging out with a guy?
Well, he's feeling sorry. Yeah, he's feeling remorse, right?
Yeah, but he's not doing anything for him. He's just having a drink with him in a bar.
Yeah, but
he hangs out with him. He spends time with him.
And you think he's going to feel better when he says, "I'm the one who killed your boy"? I think the guys will be like, "Oh, okay, you bought me a beer. I don't mind."
Yeah, but he won't tell him that, will he? He's just
probably will. That's something. He probably will.
And just abandoned the girl on the date. Didn't even say bye. She's a cute chick as well.
And
man.
she seemed like a sure thing. She seemed like she was into him.
Yeah.
I did like the way he was being not interrogated, but he was sitting there and talking to his therapist. And they went over the things like, "You shouldn't hurt people." And he goes, "I haven't hurt anyone." And you see the flashback to him hurting people. I think and then all these rules that he has, and he keeps saying, "I haven't done this." And then you see the flashback of him actually doing it.
Yeah. So is this like a good cop, bad cop sort of thing?
Well, it's supposed to be a buddy. I think the overall, once the show's all said and done, it will be like a buddy action comedy with the two of them. But at the moment, they're just separately just dealing with their regular lives now after.
Well, that was it as well, right? So the first episode, they don't even meet.
Yeah, so they're just doing their own thing. So I guess but there's this mysterious, superpowered individual. They introduced two. There's a new Captain America it works for the government that they brought in. And then there's someone else that's like part of this terrorist group, maybe, that we saw. But I think they're leading towards it being the same person, but I don't think it is. I reckon that's too obvious.
Oh, you're right. So I'm assuming because it ended like so suddenly on the flash of like Captain America, are we supposed to know who that is? Or is that just a completely new person?
A new actor. It's a new actor.
Right.
Yeah, that's basically a government yes man that they brought in, given in the shield.
Yeah.
It's friggin' Falcon's fault. Why would you give the shield away and trust that the government's just going to keep it in the museum?
It's how
dumbass.
Yeah, but how could Falcon be Captain America? Surely that's Bucky, right? Falcon without his like wings, he's nothing.
Yeah, he's just a regular guy.
Yeah,
no
he's just a regular guy. Yeah, exactly. Bucky should be Captain America.
Can he wield the shield properly? Can he like use it? Like, because it's like.
Well,
you know
in the trailers they do show him training with it in the trailers. Yeah. But at this point, no, he's just a.
Surely the US government wouldn't let him keep the shield anyway, because isn't in one of the films it says it's like $1 billion worth of like vibranium.
Technically, but I don't know. It's a gray area, isn't it? Like, who really owns it? I guess Tony really has the last say, and I guess Tony's not gonna.
Dead.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting. He's gone.
Tony's dead and gone.
Oh, God. Holy shit. And where's Captain America then? The old Captain America, the old man.
Oh, he's probably like in an old people's home now, right?
Does no one know? Did he change his name?
I wonder if they will. Well, I'm sure they will mention it, right? Because this does seem to really sort of go over the impact that Captain America had, like on the world.
But
and these people
are asking Falcon like, "Oh, I've heard he went to the moon and all
Oh,
of this
yeah,
shit." Like,
yeah,
no one
yeah,
knows
yeah.
where that he's an old man now. So it's
Oh yeah, I see. Oh, I see what you mean. Like, did they? Yeah, I guess no one's publicized that Captain America went back in time, saved the world, and
Yeah.
came back an old man.
yeah. So it's just hanging out.
Yeah.
And he still has super strength as a 80-year-old man.
Well, I guess maybe he doesn't want people to know, right? He could just like go off and have the quiet life now, and no one would recognize him.
Yeah, just hang out with the great grandkids, I guess.
His
So-
great grandkids.
Oh, think about it. He's over 100 years old, so
Yep.
possibly.
Well, are you saying his grandkids, or are you saying
Yeah,
like
him
from
and
his
Peg-
brother or sister?
No, him and Peggy.
Yeah,
had
but
kids.
isn't that a different timeline?
No, but they would be a lot. Well, oh God,
didn't you
shit,
say-
time travel. Yeah,
Didn't you say in the Marvel universe, just because you do something in the past doesn't mean it follows you through to the future?
I guess that's the gray area. We don't really. No, but he has no. But when we saw him at the end of Endgame, he's lived that life and come.
But it's
To
not
now.
Back to the Future.
No, but I reckon they have to because he lived his life and
Yeah.
just stayed alive up until when he gave the shield to.
And then it's
but
come
his,
back.
so his
to this
kids
time.
have.
So he's now come back to the original timeline.
But he didn't travel through time to get to now. He just lived his life up until this point. So he must have kids alive now.
Did he?
Grandkids, yeah. Because he
Oh,
went.
I
he went
really
back in
can't remember.
time
You
and
sure
stayed
about
there.
that?
Yeah, that was the whole thing. He went back and stayed with Peggy and just
You
lived
were
his
silent.
life. That's why he's an
No,
old man.
he came back.
No, he
through
didn't.
No,
he
he
just
did.
lived. He just lived his life. That's
Sorry?
why he was old.
You need to be the tiebreaker.
I have no. I can't be the tiebreaker. I can't even remember the movie properly anymore.
Remember when you saw the old Captain America at the end?
Yeah,
when-
yeah.
Yeah.
talking to
I
Solomon,
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the reveal that when he went back in time to fix everything, to give the hammer back to Thor and all of that,
Yeah.
he didn't come back. He just stayed with Peggy because then we saw them dancing. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why
that's
he's an
fine.
old man because he stayed in
Yeah, he stayed there. Yeah.
and just grew old until now.
See, that
Yep.
doesn't make sense now because that's he should be in a different timeline.
That's the quandary of time travel, but I think that's how they were setting it up. That he was
See
just,
so now you're saying they are following the Back to the Future model.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what's he doing now? Where is he? Like,
So
he's
he would then technically have kids if he stayed behind.
grandkids, great grandkids, most likely.
Yeah.
Well, that's if he wasn't firing blanks after all that stuff they'd injected into it.
Probably, yeah. That's he just gave leukemia to everybody.
Yeah. It was an okay start.
I liked it.
It's-
I thought it
it's-
was nice, good, especially after the experience of watching Wonder and seeing how that started and how that progressed and built. I have a lot
Yeah.
of faith in how this is gonna.
See, I like the fact that Wanda was different and kooky and unusual, and this just started off with loads of action,
Yeah.
all that sort of like the same generic stuff
No,
that
but it
you
was
know. that was coming.
different. The day to day, seeing Falcon trying to help his sister to keep the family boat, like the normal stuff.
Yeah, I mean
like
that stuff was pretty cool. I did like that they delve into like their personal lives and stuff. I did think his sister was just being a little bit. I mean,
Pushy.
obviously not, but just a bit too like he's trying to help you.
Yeah, got pride in it.
Yeah.
It's like you were gone. I had to do this on my own. Oh, fuck it. But it's crazy that he's got no money.
No Avengers fund.
That is
Not
just
even like a GoFundMe that people donate. Like they
I
saved me.
know.
See, now that's really interesting because as you're bringing this up, that these guys don't get paid, you would think to yourself, why are they putting their lives on?
Yeah.
Yeah, they should be something to say thank you, right?
Why would- yeah, just give him $1 million, 10 minutes, whatever. Even if it's just
Because
1 million.
if a regular cop gets paid for just patrolling the streets,
These guys save the world, save the universe.
Hold on, who's going to pay them?
Tony.
Tony's
Oh,
dead.
before he died.
well, the government should pay them, right?
But
Because they're
Tony's dead now.
saving. They
So who's
should
going to pay them?
Yeah, but they don't directly. That was the whole point of the whole Civil War thing. They don't directly work for the government, innit? They were the
exactly.
own thing.
So, but what the U.S. government would be like, but you're saving the whole world, so why should we pay? And then the French government would be like, you're saving the whole world, why should we pay?
Yeah, so Tony should have paid them beforehand, before he died. All the years that they were all hanging out doing their stuff with
Do you
Ultron
not
and all of that.
understand? Rich people don't give their money away. That's how they become rich, right? They grab on and hold on to all their money.
It's just criminal.
You know what would have happened, Eddie, right? All they would have, the reason why they didn't get paid is that they would have started arguing about
Who gets paid what?
Yes.
Everyone gets the same.
Black Widow will be moaning because she's getting paid less than the men, and Hulk will be like, I'm being treated like an animal.
Oh, then you say, Black Widow, you've got no powers. That's why you're getting paid less.
Yeah, but she can still kick ass, though.
All right. So just as a first episode, good start, right?
Yeah, thumbs up from me.
Ah,
Thumbs up there. It does end too soon once you're kind of getting into it, but that's the way that Marvel do it now, and I'm okay with that. I like it. Thumbs up. Loving it. So you're gonna watch it, Sam?
I will watch it probably straight after this.
Good boy.
Now that we spoiled it for you.
Yes.
No, it's good. I'm still interested.
So let's get into the big one. Zack Snyder last week. We finally got it. HBO Max in the US and wherever else in the world you are, however else you watched it. Justice League, the full 4 hours and whatever minutes landed on us. So me and Sam got to see it together. So I know what he thought, but Mo, you're the mysterious one. You've kept quiet. What did you think?
This film. Do you know, actually, before I go into what I thought, I actually downloaded our podcast that we originally recorded when this first came out to have a listen to it.
You should have told us so we could have listened to it as well.
No, I didn't want to do that because I want to know what your takes are. I want to know how Salim and Eddie have changed their minds. And you know what was so bizarre? Eddie didn't really like it, and Salim seemed to kind of like it, but you both gave it the same score.
Which was?
You both gave it a 3. No, but you both gave it a 3.
That's fine enough.
And I gave it like a 2. I think I gave it a 2.5. The extra half was just for Gal Gadot, whatever.
Gal Gadot.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So no, there's no hiding the fact that in the past I've hated on Snyder, and so I just don't like his films. They're depressing. They're long. They look pretty, but they're just boring. I tell you what. If I didn't watch this in one sitting, I watched it over 2 nights. But I could have quite easily sat there and watched the whole thing in one sitting. I could not remember. It just got late and I wanted to have it loud, and I do live in a flat, so I like to be courteous to my neighbours. There was not a single moment where I thought it was slow or it was boring, where you're kind of thinking they're just padding it out now.
Lois Lane.
Amy, what's her name? Love her. She's great in it.
It was padded. She didn't.
No. It's the one thing I did sort of notice while I was watching it. Originally they were talking about having it as 4 1-hour episodes.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, you can still see that structure is there, right? Some of them do. I'm not saying it's not as grand as a film, because it absolutely is. But you can see the structure is absolutely there for it to be 4 different episodes.
Yeah, he could have cut it out.
Yeah,
but it wouldn't have been as. I'm happy they did it in one go.
Oh yeah. I mean, fuck having to wait each week for the next episode, right? Yeah. But it was. I don't think there's been a film like this. And when I say like this, I don't mean the subject matter. I mean the way that it starts off, and then you start seeing origin stories for other characters that aren't even main players, and then you delve into the real nitty gritty, and you get their backstories and their motivations, and brings them all the good stuff that was cut out of the Whedon cut.
So much was cut out, especially since like me, Mo, you watched the Whedon one quite recently. So
yeah.
Did it was it just this stark? Wow, it's so different. The dialogue, the way it looks.
It both actually, because sometimes you're surprised about there were things I could have sworn that were Whedon, but actually were Snyder. Right. So there were a few of those. There were some things that they changed. And you kind of wonder, you already had a perfectly good scene. Why did you change it? So I'll give an example. You know, when Martha comes to see Lois at the beginning of the Whedon cut, they're sitting at the Daily Planet, they have that chat, right? In its own, if you don't know the other scene exists, it's fine. It's good. It kind of tells you the story. But when you see the Snyder one, like you already had a scene. Why did you need to go and film another one that done exactly the same thing, but not as good?
Snyder's one, it insinuates that Lois doesn't work at the planet, and she hasn't.
Yeah, I get that, but I don't think that plays into the plot of the Whedon film at all.
Doesn't really, no. It's kind of all pointless. I think half of the changes he made was more just to justify him taking a job.
Yeah,
to see like he's doing something.
And there was a lot of those as you were watching them. I think the most important one was the fact that in the Whedon cut, Lois is a pawn. She's like Batman, or not Batman. She's Bruce Wayne's pawn, right? He uses her as like some form of like a tool against Superman, whereas in the Snyder cut it happens organically.
Have you heard Snyder's plans for what he was going to do?
So about
have you saw them?
No, about the pregnancy kit, right?
Well, you know it's that Lois is pregnant. When you see the pregnancy, it turns out, or it was going to turn out, that was going to be Batman's kid, that her and Bruce hooked up during the grief periods. That they had like some sort of one night stand, and she turns out to be pregnant. And the kid does get raised by Superman to a degree, I believe. But that kid, once Batman and Superman, whatever hell goes down, the nightmare stuff, he grows up. The kid grows up to be the next Batman.
All right. Okay.
Weird
version of wait. He was going to have this in the following on as the movie
in the next two films,
Wow.
His next other Justice Leagues.
I just want to sort of start with like also how Mo started the conversation, that watching this, we watched it together, Eddie, and I didn't get your thoughts on it, but it really did not feel to me long at all. It felt like I was having this conversation, you know, like you're watching a 2-hour movie, you know it's a 2-hour movie, right? This is a 4-hour movie. Now, for me, I know we took like sort of mini breaks here and there, right? But still, like every step of the way I was engaged. I was interested. I wanted to know more. I was speaking to Ravi earlier on as well, and Ravi said the same thing. He goes, you know what? I sat through the whole thing and it just felt like 2.5 hours to me. So I was so immersed in it.
Yeah, it felt like a long 2.5 hour movie rather than a full 4 hours.
But you know, sometimes when you watch like a 2.5 hour movie and it feels like a long film, this didn't
like
have
a Nolan movie, like a Nolan. I tried to watch Dark Knight again the other day, and it's like there's something about the way he makes his movies that not always that rewatchable. As amazing as his films are, Nolan, as great as his films are, and as great a filmmaker as he is, the rewatchability of his films, for me personally, isn't that high.
Well,
they're very dour.
Loves Interstellar. Ask him how many times he's seen it.
Oh my god! Like, I can't. Even everybody says to me, "Watch Interstellar again." I was like, "Can't do it, man. Can't do it." So go on, Ed.
I was gonna say, like, who do you feel benefited the most from this new version? What character?
Oh, definitely. What's his name? The cyborg.
Definitely got a lot more.
It was like a whole fucking film within a film.
Yeah, and his dad as well, who didn't do nothing in the other one.
In the other one, it felt like a little trailer for Cyborg. In this, the main story feels like it's like Cyborg is the main character. You know, Superman, everybody else is there, but it's a lot around it. I think Cyborg had probably the most airtime, to be honest.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
And then you think about what he was in the Whedon film, and he had a fraction.
Nothing. He was just there moping, looking out the window, and then straight to the action.
Could you imagine, right, as an actor, how pissed you would be, right, that there's all this story for that character that has
first film as well.
Yeah,
that was his first film.
Thrown in.
I just don't know. Just imagine, right? You're Snyder, you show your 4-hour cut to the executives or whatever in like 2016 or whenever this happened. And they watch that and they think, we need to cut this down. Instead of saying, you've hit it out of the park here.
But he did cut it down. Like he said, like we spoke about it last week, he's got multiple time edits. He had a 2.5 hour one.
he had a 2.5 hour.
Yeah, he had a shorter one, but I guess they wanted what Marvel was doing, what they've done with all the solo films since Justice League. They wanted the more colorful, more humor. So once he was gone because of the family stuff, I guess they saw it as an opportunity to let's kind of make this the way we want it to be made. So let's get Whedon to do that.
But this was a very, I mean, like that opening scene with Wonder Woman, right? After we saw that, we actually paused and we said, she's actually killed everyone in that room, right? All those terrorists. She's killed
in front of the kids.
Like
kids watch men get murdered and their heads crushed into marble stone walls.
So where the other one, where Sweden's one was a very, to what I can remember, pretty humorous, right?
It was the same. He just took out the middle bit where she was killing the guys. So he just went straight to the bullet.
But no, the overall film, his one was a bit more sort of. Yeah, well, this one was absolutely serious all the way through, and
there was still a lot of humor.
The little humor points that it did have in it, they were actually good. They worked.
I don't know about that. I think a lot of the lines of dialogue, especially with Flash, was still pretty.
I didn't mind him. In the first one, in Whedon's one, I really couldn't connect with that character. With this, I was cool with it. With that whole scene where all of that is like pointless. But in this one, I was cool with it. I didn't have any issues.
He's still annoying to me. I don't
really?
Think
I'm actually So I'm now actually looking forward to like a Flash film. Remember before I was like, I don't want to see it because I associate the Flash with what's his name from like the CW show. Now, having seen that scene with Iris and all of that, I'm like, I want to see it. And apparently she's now coming back to play Iris in the film.
I find him too annoying. The way he talks, that annoys the hell out of me. The way he runs, all that slow shit. I hate that. It looks terrible.
But isn't that like, this obviously this film was done like 4 years ago, right? So I'd imagine just like with Aquaman, they are going to improve things on the way things look and all that kind of stuff.
How would you want him to run it? Like
how he does in the TV show. It's like proper. Like he looks good. The TV show does the running good. But
I don't know what you mean. I didn't see anything wrong with the way he runs.
He's slow. He doesn't do the fast thing. He just waves his arms around. I can't know how long I can hold this.
He's moving so fast that he looks slow.
But it looks shit.
All right. Okay. To be fair, right? I mean, look, not to be fair, but I also did pick up on that. The way he was running, I was like, did they have? They like?
It's like he's ice skating. It's just.
But I didn't really have a major issue. It wasn't like oh my god, why is he running like that? I haven't seen the TV version, so maybe I should go watch the TV version.
Let me ask you guys a quick question. What did you think of Steppenwolf? I'm not just talking about his look.
Way better.
Not just his look.
Yeah, way better. He actually has a motivation. He's not just talking in the air. Mummy, mother, I'm coming, mother. And like, it was so dumb. In this one, he has a goal. He just wants to go home. He's a guy who's been kicked out of the house and he's desperate. Solomon, you'll find this out one day, I'm pretty sure. And he just wants to come home. Please, he will be pleased with what I have done here. And I liked him, and he was badass. He was tougher.
I actually felt sorry for him.
Yes. Yeah. And so does the internet. I'm seeing it already. Memes of him like a puppy. And girls love him.
Oh, yeah. The animation on his face, like when he was just like desperate to go home and stuff. Like none of that was there in the Whedon cut.
Yeah. I love that communication thing, that slab, which in Whedon version was just there to hold the boxes. But now it was like a communication device. A very cool one at that. So you saw Desard, that new guy that we saw, and Darkseid talking through it. I love that stuff.
Well, sticking with like Steppenwolf, some of his action scenes were really, really good. That bit where he grabs the horse, did you see it?
And the whole thing with the Amazon, that scene was very cool.
And like, it's amazing that how much was just cut out from. Obviously, I know it's an extended 2 hours on this, but some of those action scenes, I'm so surprised that they just didn't squeeze them in some way and just made that cut slightly a bit longer.
Yeah, it was cool, man. That whole scene, it was way more epic with the Amazons. The fact that with the Whedon one, all they were doing is bashing down them pillars, and all it did is just shut off the the temple, and he just burst through the door anyway to go off.
Yeah.
This one, this whole thing just went down into the ocean. So there was actually this sense of loss that all of these 50 whatever Amazons had to sacrifice themselves to keep them back.
And that's another thing. You actually felt that. You
Yeah.
know, like you're like, oh my God, in order to save that box, like all these
Or to
Amazonian
get rid of him,
have gone to their death. And then in the original one, you said it doesn't go down, does it?
No, he just busts through the door.
And that's puzzling, right? It's like, why spend all that money, have that effect already done, right? And then not use it.
Yeah. Warner Brothers. Pissing away money.
Yeah. So, and like, again, Darkseid's character, although you didn't see him, that little back intro, because that was the other thing. I was thinking to myself, okay, I want to see him in action. So seeing him in the little, the backstory that they held for him.
Yeah, the Lord of the Rings.
The Lord of the Ring with Sauron. That was brilliant. I love that.
Right. So there is a piece of Darkseid story that just doesn't make any sense. So either I've misunderstood it, or there is a flaw in the story here, right?
I think I know where you're gonna go.
Do you know what I mean? Right. So they come to Earth many thousands of years ago.
5,000.
5,000 years ago. They have a battle. They lose. They leave the mother boxes there, right? They left them for whatever reason. They couldn't retrieve them, whatever. They've gone away. They've partied. They've pillaged. They've raped. They've done whatever. Now they come back to this planet, or rather, he sends one of his minions to this planet where the mother boxes are. But they don't put two and two together. Say, oh, that's the planet we left the mother boxes on. That's the planet that defeated us.
It's not even the boxes that are what he wants. It's the anti-life equation, what that thing was on the ground.
Right.
Which is, for DC heads, I'm not even a DC head, but basically that anti-life equation, besides from the mother boxes, it gives the ability to whoever discovers it and wields it to control all of life throughout the galaxy. So everyone would become his slave. That's why he wants it more than, you don't really care about the mother boxes once he knows that that's there.
But what I'm saying is,
but the fact that they forgot that it was there.
Yeah.
Because he saw it, he did the hammer thing on the ground.
Yeah.
But then, that is a big hole. Like, how can they forget?
How is that?
This was Earth.
Yeah.
That is a bit funny. Yeah, I don't get that.
Unless that's something they explain in like the next 2 films that we'll never see now.
Or maybe he was so injured, he was in a coma for like months. No one decided to take note.
And one really funny thing about Darkseid, his little other minion who's with him all the time, did he not seem like he was one step away from like getting his head decapitated? Because at the end he's like, I told you. I told you.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself, he's gonna cut his head. He's gonna like do something.
Too lippy.
But he was actually pretty calm. He was like, "Yeah, you're right." Like he seems like a really chilled out, mellow guy. I just didn't realize.
But you see, like just the way he just crushed like Steppenwolf's head, like when it came through.
That's his uncle. You know that.
Huh?
That character. That's his uncle. Steppenwolf.
That's his uncle.
Yeah, Steppenwolf is Darkseid's uncle, and he just stomped on his head. He's his mother's brother. That's such a piece of shit.
So wait, there's something I'm missing here, right? So he betrayed Darkseid. So
yeah.
Do you know that story, or they didn't really?
It's not a comic specific story. I guess they just came up with it for the.
Oh right, okay.
All right, but yeah, I guess he betrayed him somehow, and yes, he owes him 50,000 worlds.
What did you guys think of the black suit?
It looked cool. Like I mentioned this to Mo last week. According to Snyder, there was never actually a physical black suit. This is the normal red and blue suit that they just decolored on the computer to make it look silver and black. But they got away with it because it looked damn good.
Other than looking good, I don't think it really served a purpose, right?
It's accurate to the comic book. After Superman dies, he comes back in a black suit. Mm-hmm. But specifically in the books, that black suit was helping him to regenerate and get his strength back. Whereas in this, it was just a style choice. Mm-hmm. Went to the wardrobe and decided I'm gonna try something different this time.
And a big wardrobe he had, like there's all those different suits and stuff, right?
The build up where Bruce is basically putting together the team, that also felt very, very good to me. Like it felt like, okay, this is somebody who really obviously wants to do this, but through that process, there was a lot of detail in that. like those interactions with those characters every step of the way, I thought was also executed pretty good.
Do you feel Bruce and Batman as a whole was too nice in this film?
What he's
Batman's a bit of a dick in general. He's always a bit of a hard-headed. He knows what the plan is, do what I say. He's very diplomatic in this. Like, okay, I have this idea. What do you guys think? You like it? Look, you got any ideas? How do you guys think?
But at the same time, I felt that he was calling all the shots. He was like, no, this is the way it's going to be done. And that's it. There was a lot of that.
No, I thought like that's how you show leadership, Eddie. If you like just tell people what to do all the time, they start to resent you.
It's not about how leadership should be represented. It's just how the Batman character. He's not as nice. He's not a nice guy. He's a dickhead.
Right? But he's old. Think about he's dealing with all these other superheroes, right? And he's got to basically, if you're a superhero and you've got all these other superheroes, actually you're the one with no powers. Wouldn't you want to be more diplomatical with everybody?
Yeah, okay. But I just didn't seem much like the Batman I know.
No. Well, no, he's obviously now repenting like for what happened from the previous film, right? Because his hot-headedness eventually led to the death of Superman.
True. Who else was impressive in this?
I thought Aquaman was a bit more. In the last one, he was too much of a surfer boy and like a bit all over the place. This one, he was a bit more grounded. There was that little scene where he said, "I thought you didn't care," or something like that. And he goes, "Who told you?"
Yeah, well, I never said that. Yeah.
Yeah, I never said that. Like, there's certain moments with him that you could.
They see still. Do you ever feel like it was as a whole, the film was a little melodramatic, overly with the slow-mo and some of the song choices that they had in?
No, did you like his song? The one that the girl's singing.
Oh god, it was fine at the beginning. It was fine when it started, but it just went on too long.
I didn't like. I've seen people complain about that.
Slightly, and then busted up teeth and her creepy eyes. It was like, get away, stop this. It's too long.
I did not mind it. I was actually quite enjoying her singing.
You were happy about she picked up his clothes, right? Because you were like,
at the time, I was like, yeah, because he's just throwing his clothes away. What was it? Someone should be picking these things up, but it was just the fact that it went on for so long, and then she was just right there in the camera with jagged graveyard teeth. And
what does he do? Where does he get his clothes from? Like, does he just come to the
he must just keep making clothes every time he gets up?
Well, he probably goes to her house, right? She's probably got like these old wardrobes.
Yeah, that was the whole Atlantis, all those sequences. We haven't really spoke on those.
William Dafoe.
It was funny. It's funny to see how much security the Amazons have with their mother box.
Yeah,
it's like 50 women, and then you go to Atlantis and it's like a little room with like 5 guys. Just like...
Well, that's the other thing, right? Why they if these things are so like you must guard them. Why are they not burying them places? I know one got buried, but the other two.
Yeah, foot underground.
The foot underground. But here's the thing, answering Eddie's question, I thought, because I was thinking, why there's only like 5 people? But at that point, there's like a new in command, isn't there? So like this dude doesn't seem like he cares all that much.
It's
his brother.
That's what it felt like to me. It's like, all right, well, he doesn't care, but there's a group of people Atlanteans that do care about this mother box, and they will guide it with their life.
Oh, well, we had confirmation as well from our source. Thank you, buddy, the one who gave us our early review about how the Atlanteans communicate a little differently. Do you hear like the dolphin talk? Before they got into the bubbles. That was new. They didn't do that in the film, in the Aquaman film.
You know what? I actually want to watch the Aquaman film again now after having watched this.
So do I.
Just to see like how it continues on, right? Because they obviously set stuff up in this film for it. But you are right, and the only thing I can think of is they've obviously had to guard these boxes for like 5,000 years, and I imagine after 5,000 years of nothing happening, they become a little bit complacent.
Yeah, but they all activated when Superman died.
Yeah.
So whatever time period that is, that it's been like months, we're presuming.
But they probably don't know what that means.
It's got when it starts rumbling, and they got to be like. Uh-oh.
That's a very good point, right? I mean, if they're just sitting there dormant, it's like, oh, who cares? But like when they do rumble, it's like, oh shit, something's going on.
Why would Superman dying activate them?
Well, they said that they were scared of him, that he was so powerful that they knew that he was capable of stopping them, which is a bit of a stretch, but then you kind of have to let some things go. that the fact that his scream is so loud that it can wake them up but not blow people's eardrums.
Oh, was that the scream at the beginning? Like,
Yeah.
so he's in the lightning and
Yeah. When you
right.
see the sound waves just traveling. Yeah, that was waking him up.
What's his name? Martian Manhunter.
God awful. Didn't
Really?
need to be there. God, it was dude. Supergirl's Martian Manhunter looks better than that fucking one. It looks way better. It looks terrible.
So I thought what would have been fine, all right, is just to introduce him at the end. They didn't need to bring him in those other points. I don't feel
the Martha scene shouldn't have bothered with. It's filmed long enough, and then at the end, you know that they almost brought in Ryan Reynolds to be in this as a little cameo because you know his Green Lantern that he had should have just been him at the end floating outside Bruce's place to say that I was out in the galactic. I heard that this was going down. If I came back as soon as I can, I know it's over now, but for whatever happens, you know I'm going to be on it. That would have been a nice little thing for me, a little cherry. Add that little Green Lantern at the end.
I don't think they needed to have him at the end of the Martha scene, right? Because that took away from like Martha going and
it's a dick
talking. Yeah,
what dick does that?
It's now like, okay, that wasn't Martha at all.
Yeah. And plus, for him to turn up at the end outside Bruce's house makes it even worse that he did nothing. That you knew all of this stuff was going on, but you just decided to just hang back. And now once it's all dealt with and the world's at peace, now that you decide, yeah, you need help, I'm here, buddy. I'm anything. Just call on me.
That actually is a very good point because like the world was going to shit and he didn't step up.
Yeah,
he was just hiding around.
Exactly. So it's like,
would you get involved in the stuff that was going down?
Martian Manhunter is a very important character. This one is clearly a pussy. So like,
should have been Green Lantern. Yeah, I did not like that. That was questionable. So, is there anything from the Whedon ones you would have kept that you can remember from it?
The only thing that I missed from the Whedon cut was obviously the Russian family, right? They brought so much heart to the story.
I was gonna say that's what you're serious for a minute.
You know the bit where the Flash and Superman are fighting, and it gets to a bit where it gets really fast. In the Whedon cut, in the music it turns it into like the John Williams Superman thing.
Didn't it?
Yeah, and that's one bit I thought, oh, that's a really nice touch, which was obviously completely absent in this film.
Two things I would have kept: Aquaman sitting on the lasso.
I'd imagine most people probably hate that.
I thought that was an okay moment of humor. It wasn't too goofy, or it was just him saying, you know what, this isn't going to work. We're going to die. And then for him to be saying all this truthful stuff and then for it to be revealed that he was sitting on the lasso, I did like that. And when Batman confronted Wonder Woman to say, 100 years, where have you been? World wars, all of this happening. You lose your boyfriend, he decided to hide. That's the dickhead Batman that I like. But they got rid of that. Yeah. But I did like that.
I don't think there's really much else I can think of. It was still quite surprising. I think I mentioned this already, but how much of stuff that was in the Whedon cut that still made it into this film.
So it wasn't Whedon's after all.
I'm beginning to wonder how much. Well, unless we sit there and do like a real, and I'm sure somebody on the internet will do it, so we don't have to do it ourselves. A real proper comparison and a breakdown of what came from where.
Well, nothing Whedon, because even Zack says he's never seen it. That's what he keeps saying.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that he's kept anything in there. What I'm saying is kind of, were there not things in the Whedon cut that you would have thought that's definitely a Josh Whedon, but then actually realized it was Snyder?
The only stuff I would have attributed to Whedon that surprised me that wasn't is some of the Flash's dialogue, some of his little goofy, I'm like a black hole or I'm a snack hole, like that shit's like, oh god, I thought that was Whedon, but no.
A good example of what they did reshoot though is the scene where they're digging up Superman. It's the exact same scene but different dialogue.
They're not the fist bump. Where are the accidents? That's what they said in the Whedon one.
And I don't know if it was in the Whedon one, but I liked the respect that they were paying to just digging him up. We could do this like in literally a second, but like we'll do this properly.
See, now that I don't get. Why would you do it? Like what's proper about doing it slowly? Just gonna get caught.
It's just respect for the grave, man.
And
I like the fact that they showed him.
They're up against the. time here.
If you died, all right, and we were going to bring you back to life,
I'd want you to do it as quickly as possible.
Me and
Why
Eddie would take our
wait?
time. We would go have some donuts, come back, have a break, and just
sit you up against the gravestone, take a few pictures, selfies with you.
Yeah. That's how we would
Weekend
do
at
it.
Bernie's. I like that they showed them kind of breaking into the ship, even though it still annoys me that ship's just sitting there and that. Well, I guess it's Superman's dead at this point, so he should have gotten rid of the ship in BVS. But anyway, the fact that they showed him breaking in and all of that to get
that was all
body.
pretty cool. That was all very, very cool.
What do you think of? Go on.
No, go on.
I was gonna say, what do you think of Cyborg's dad? Because that was a whole other massive.
I was just about to talk about that. So I did love. At first, I didn't quite understand what he was doing by putting himself in the little chamber and heating.
Did he need to do that? Surely the remote control works from outside the door as well as inside the door.
I guess he was buying himself time. Like there was another barrier for Steppenwolf to have to break through.
I'm sure Steppenwolf wouldn't give a shit. He wants the box. So he could have just ran to the corner and stayed there. He would have been fine. Did he actually really need to kill himself in that moment?
He didn't, but at the same time, it did add to the story, right?
Yeah.
It added,
The loss.
drive.
The emotional punch.
Yeah.
Emotional punch to the gut.
We know it didn't need to be there, but sometimes as filmmakers, you want to add this stuff in, right?
Cyborg hasn't lost enough. Now get rid of his dad too.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a nice touch for him to play back or heal the recorder and listen back to the audio and stuff like that,
I was expecting actually Cyborg to, earlier in the film where they're explaining all his powers and all the things that he could do. He could even launch all the nuclear missiles. I was expecting him at some point just to launch all the missiles against Steppenwolf.
How do you do that and not pollute an
destroy
entire
the whole
continent?
Yeah.
Russia just becomes a no-go zone for the toxic waste. But I do like that they did that, and then it ended with, but the whole thing is for you not to do that. That's the real challenge, that you have all this ability to do all of this stuff. But obviously he wasn't listening because then he took the money for that woman and made it bigger. So obviously he took money from somewhere and put it into her account. So he wasn't totally listening about
He probably took it from Elon Musk's account.
Who's
Bruce
not
Wayne's
even
account.
Realize?
Huh? Yeah, probably. I did like that. That was cool. You get to show his humanity there. Did he need to be a genius though? Because when they showed the flashback to him being in school and they said that he's this football player who's a genius, we already know that Flash is a genius. Batman's relatively a genius as well, with his engineering and all of that. Does he need to be a genius as well? Aren't there enough geniuses in this team?
So what you're saying is you want some dumb superheroes. No, so the dumb superheroes become villains, right?
Yeah, he doesn't have to be a genius. Just be a smart guy.
Well, no, because then you'll say, right, you've got the Flash, who's a white guy who's a genius. You've got Bruce Wayne, who's a white guy who's a genius. They're making the black guy not a genius.
I didn't say make
That's a
him
very
dumb,
good point.
but it makes it. You could show the elevation in his intelligence once he becomes Cyborg, that he has all this access to all this information. Then you can see him accumulate that knowledge of being a genius rather than him always being this. How many athletes are also geniuses? They're not. You're either an athlete and you're dumb as fuck, or you're a genius and then you're frail and weak. That's the nature of the world. You can't be both.
So pushing it a bit forward, what about
use steroids?
Yeah. What about this whole apocalyptic world of
the nightmare world?
Yeah.
What annoys me about these nightmare sequences from BVS and from this is we've never got an explanation as to why Bruce is having these visions. He's not psychic. Why is he having visions of the future, of what is going to happen?
That's going to be explained in the next film. That's never going to get made.
Is something communicating with him?
What? Nothing.
It's the what's his name? It's Martian Manhunter is putting those into.
He's telepathic. He's not psychic. He can communicate in people's minds, but he can't see the future. There's a difference between telepathic and being able to see the future. It's very different.
So maybe somehow he's been to the future. Maybe the Flash
came
back.
He's not a time traveler.
Maybe the Flash came back from the future and told him.
But he hasn't. No, we've seen he hasn't.
No, but we know. We're talking about future Flash may have come back and told Martian Manhunter, who's now putting telepathic thoughts into Bruce's head.
But telling him isn't making him see.
No, but it's easing him in. You can't just go up to a man and say, you know what? Like the whole world's gonna get decimated.
But they set up they set up that Manhunter hasn't had no communication with anybody. He just stalks everybody and pretends to be their
exactly stalking him.
mother-in-law.
Yeah.
So he keeps and seeing these visions though, right? So it's really bizarre that, I mean, to your point, that's what I was thinking as well, that where are they all coming from? So the only thing that I thought of is, okay, there's some sort of something sending him these visions, but because otherwise, like, where does it make any sense?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And even knowing that this was going to be the end of this, once he went back to doing this Snyder Cut, he figured he would have given an explanation to that. Still didn't. So I don't think he even thought about it.
No, but he's given enough explanation to what is happening in those nightmare scenes to actually make you think, well, even if I never get to see that film, at least I know what's going on now.
Yeah, but I want to know why that's happening.
That's not as important.
To me, it is. So what did you think of that last nightmare sequence then?
I want to see that film now.
Did you like the Joker?
No, I
think the reach, him talking about who's going to give you a reach around, that laugh. Some of the dialogue was a bit.
Did so in the trailer they had him say like you live in a society. He didn't actually say that in the film, did he?
They didn't show that. They didn't have
so
that.
where, like, I take it there was more additional scenes that were filmed with old Jared, right?
No, apparently there's a tiny bit more in the black and white version that's coming in a month or whatever. There's a black and white version of this, Arlen. For some reason, Snyder just hasn't had enough.
So he's done a desaturated one, he's done a black and white one, and he's done a 4:3 version for both. And that's the thing that if you go to any forum, that's the thing people are talking most about.
What?
Yeah.
It's the fact that it's 4:3.
That it's a square box.
So the black and white one, to my knowledge, it's got a different soundtrack, right?
Don't know about that, but maybe.
Put the Josh Whedon soundtrack back in.
So it's got a slightly different soundtrack and, like you said, some additional scenes maybe?
Of Jared. Just a little bit, tiny bit. Not really scenes.
Is this going to be like 4.5 hours?
Nah, it's not that long. Just little, probably a minute or two of more stuff. You know what I was hoping though, when he was talking with Joker? I was hoping it was going to be, there was a Batman game, Arkham. I think it was the last one, where the Joker died in the previous game. So in this game, Joker only was around in Batman's head, like haunting him. And I was kind of hoping that while he was talking to Joker, it was going to cut back to like Cyborg or Mirror, and they were just going to see from their POV that Batman's just staring off into nothing. In his head, he's just talking.
You don't know one.
I would have liked that. I would have liked the fact that he's having this conversation with him in his head.
By his main enemy.
Did you guys have a hero moment? Was there like a moment in this film where you're watching it, like where your mouth was open, that you were like, "Oh my god, yes, son, do it"? A moment like that? Because I definitely had one.
I think it was all the Amazon stuff, man. Whether it's Wonder Woman in the bank or the Amazonians fighting him, I just thought those were my favorite.
I loved all those moments. I mean, a lot of the action scenes I loved heavily, but I think for me, when I recall when I watched the Sweden cut, when Superman returned, when he came back to life, it was just Superman's back to life. In this, a little bit longer, but it just felt like, oh my god! So even though I know he's coming back, it was like, oh my god, he's back, and it just the build up to it just made me feel a bit more excited.
Surely, surely the bit that got me the most excited was like when it all looked, everything was going wrong, right? The Flash had to run, he had to like shove Thingy Bob through, and it all goes wrong, right? And you're then watching the Flash, and he's just standing there, and you're like, oh, he's gonna fucking do it. He's gonna travel back in time. And then you see him do it, and then I was just like, wow! Like just when you thought this film just couldn't take it to the next level, it fucking like. I
did feel a little bit tense there, even though you know how it's gonna end ultimately. I did feel a little bit tense, when he got shot and he's on the floor and it's like it's too late. The boxes are synchronized, and I thought, oh, it just did. And it all just blew up. And then he saw everyone as he was running. Everyone was like reassembling, so everyone died basically. Even Superman died. Just the flesh.
Yeah, that was amazing. It's just like another filmmaker may just not have gone there, right? They may have just thought that was just like a step too far.
I did also think that we were going to see a dark side stepping through as well.
Yeah,
When he goes,
I was wondering that.
oh my God, he's coming.
Why didn't he just shoot his lasers through?
Or you almost wanted Superman to say, "Come on through," like do like a Bruce Lee type, like "Come
Do you know
through."
what they need to do is walk through at that point?
In theory, yeah. Why not?
Because
Because he said he's just going to go. But the thing is, the reason why he wants to bring his whole armada, it's not just him popping up. He wants to bring his ships so we can just destroy and obliterate the planet.
Yeah.
So I think that portal needs to expand or something, maybe.
So it wouldn't be big enough for the ships and all of the demon things.
He didn't see. Wait, hold up. I just want to say this. He didn't seem that disappointed. Darkseid. He just like walked off. It's like,
yeah, I guess.
It's like I don't want to fight those guys. I'm just going home. That's what it felt like to me.
Go home for some dinner and dessert.
He did say afterwards that, well, we'll do it the old way. Ready the armada. So that's the cliffhanger that we aren't going to get a resolution for. That Darkseid is coming.
Do you sometimes think to yourself, right, that how frustrating it actually is now, sitting back after all these years, watching that original film, all right, and being so disappointed, and now getting this, and just thinking about if Zack's life and situation was different, if this cool version dropped, then we would have had those other versions as well.
It's not even whether his life was, better. It's Warner Brothers. They just never had faith in his version of that story. They didn't want to do his roadmap, especially if he planned for Batman to eventually die. I'm sure Warner Brothers were like, well, no, we want to get a few more films out of Affleck first. They probably wanted their own trilogy and everything. So, yeah, they're the problem. Warner Brothers ultimately is the issue.
But isn't this a good thing, right? That showing not just the studios, because the studios got it wrong. It's like they finally did listen to the people, and the people got it right. Snyder got it right.
It wasn't so much. Well, when you think about the studio, right? The studio is not a living, breathing thing. There were some specific executives there at the time, right? Which I think are now gone. Yeah, wanted their bonus, right? Their bonus was more important than a good film. And Warner Brothers actually aren't the ones who greenlit this. So it's AT&T who own Warner Brothers, who are the ones that said we are doing this.
Yeah, went over their heads.
Yeah.
So yeah, even Snyder said that they're not interested in keeping this going. Maybe we'll see, but I think it's pretty much because it changes for them to keep going with this. It completely fucks up whatever they've got planned for the Flash and the Flashpoint. It interferes with that.
Have they started filming that?
Well, the scripts, I think it shoots this year, so the script's done. It fucks everything up.
They could rewrite the script still to make it. Right. I mean, yeah, do you know what I mean? It's like it's time travel, it's all that. You can
Here's
do that.
a question then, right? If you were the head of a studio, right, and you've seen this, you've seen the response, you've seen people like completely getting super, because everyone is excited about this, right? I know people that don't know nothing about superheroes that they want to watch this. Would you want to then carry this on? Or would you say, guys, you know what, let's just stop it?
Common sense would be like, yeah, but I guess they're already starting on their own little next journey. Like I said, Flash, and they've got the new Batman now that they've already committed to. That's already shot. Like, I guess they don't really, they don't think in those sort of ways.
What about the actors? Would you reckon the actors would want to come back for it?
I don't know. Affleck's the one I'm not sure. I'm sure, like everyone else is still there.
Yeah.
Henry hasn't been signed up for a new one. They're already moving forward with the new one of that with JJ.
But he said he would definitely come back, right? He liked playing Superman. There was actually an interview.
Affleck's the problem, though.
Yeah, the night before I watched the Snyder Cut, they, like last week he was doing all this press. So there was an interview that I watched with him where the guy was saying, well, Henry Cavill didn't come back. Did you have to go and find cut footage from your other two films? And Snyder started smiling and he goes, we did what we had to do. So essentially, if there is any additional footage there, it's come from like a Man of Steel or BVS.
Interesting. I reckon, yeah. I reckon from him could be an issue, but I reckon Affleck as well. I think he's been burnt too much with all of this. I reckon he's like well rid of it. He wants to go back to just being a director and writer.
When do we get the black and white version?
I don't think there's a date, but it's probably like next month, I'm guessing.
Well, the disc, they've just announced the disc today for the UK, so that's coming out in May. So I wonder if that will have like both versions on it, actually.
Probably.
I've got to ask. We've just talked about like the studio, right? I can't remember what his name was, but surely if he ever goes for another studio job, you've got to say Exhibit A, Exhibit B. I don't think we'll be hiring you. And B, I know Josh Whedon is in a lot of other problems at the moment, but how do you think he's sitting there and taking all of the stuff that he's now seeing online?
In my head, I'm imagining him sitting on the floor in the middle of a room, crying, curled up in a ball, and everything around him is smashed. Tables have been turned over, TV's like busted, and he's crying. It's like, not fair. Not fair. I'm a better filmmaker than Zack Snyder.
You know what? There was a video I saw last week where somebody was doing these are all the problems with Justice League, right? The original. And about 4 times they showed something and the guy just repeated the same phrase over and over again. Josh Whedon isn't the feminist he makes out to be. Where when something really dodgy is happening on screen.
Yeah, one thing I would like to see is, you said there's multiple cuts, right? I would actually like to see the 2.5 hour cut.
Then you'd lose all the stuff you like.
I know you would, right? But just as a fan, just like I know I would lose that, but just want to sort of, just want to get it. Yeah. Just to compare the two, like if they were both 2.5 hours.
Do you think you'll ever go back and watch the Whedon cut again?
With some time passed, maybe the mood will hit and I'll be curious to see again how his one balances.
Yep.
How he tried to do what he did.
Yep.
I want someone to regrade Aquaman now, because seeing the difference visually of scenes which were the same between Whedon and Snyder, but just the difference in the way it was graded, the colors. That bank scene looks so much more epic and so bigger, just with changing the colors and toning it down. How better would Aquaman look if someone fixed that? Because that looks very sterile.
Aquaman, if I remember, was
visual.
a very bright movie, right?
Yeah, it was very digital and flat. And
right. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because I felt, and I don't know whether this just disappeared after like an hour or so, but that first hour while I was watching it, everything, all the effects look really cheap and digital to me. And I don't know if you thought that.
I think where the problem with the effects were, I think some of them were improved slightly with the grading.
Yeah.
They were less, obvious as bad. But where the effects were problematic wasn't for like digital characters like Steppenwolf still look good and Paradigms look good. But it's whenever you had an actor against the green screen, like they were supposed to be outside, but they were obviously in the studio, that's where it always looked bad. Like when they're riding the horses, the Amazons, or when...
that absolutely is one of the examples I'm thinking of.
It's whenever they try to... The stuff that should be the easiest stuff to do looked really...
But so I don't know if I got really into the film and that I just stopped seeing that, or whether the later parts of the film would just look better.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy Aquaman. I don't think I have any interest in them like recolor grading it to make it like look better and feel that's going to make it a better movie in any way. I just think to myself, well, you know what, it's going to be exactly the same, right? Just with better colors.
Probably not. Very true.
I think we've got to talk about very quickly is obviously Superman, his entrance into the final fight, very different from the Whedon cut.
Yeah, I personally would have. This is always my complaint with Superman anyway. I would have liked Steppenwolf to get a little bit in, maybe 1 or 2 punches. Like it just seemed a bit overly strong. We just turn up, the axe hits him. After seeing Steppenwolf destroy everybody, it's, so great just to see Superman just get. It's nothing. The axe doesn't even cut his cloth on his suit. It's just nothing. And then
especially considering the battle that he and Doomsday had.
Exactly. Yeah. So and he was just blows it, freezes the axe, smashes it, and then just beats the shit out of him on the floor. Cuts his horn off. So 1 or 2 digs in would have been nice from the outside, but it was an entrance.
Could that be because they just wanted to like, all right, so he pounds that. I mean, I didn't. Yeah, he's Superman, whatever, right? And I would have preferred that as well, I do, right? But to then for the fight between Darkseid and Superman, how
Steppenwolf.
No. If there was like, because I'm looking at it from if they did carry on doing the movies as the filmmaker, right? Just to have Darkseid show how powerful he actually is compared to You know.
I'm not saying like an equal Steppenwolf fight, just like one little punch or just
Well,
a little bit of offense, just tiny little move here.
So
and there.
Steppenwolf to be a bit more stronger, right?
Just slightly.
I guess the problem there would have been even if Snyder agreed with you, they didn't have that footage, right? They would have to have got Cavill back to do some reshoots.
Yeah. Can't
But
do that.
the other thing is, like, you could see how strong he is anyway. I mean, when that scene with all of them, when they all tagged up to try to stop him, and he's just like holding all of them, like he's holding Wonder
But
Woman.
even Wonder Woman got a little move in there. She got a headbutt. Got a little sign. Even she got.
Oh
more.
right. Oh yeah. Of course.
Even she got a little more. But yeah, it was cool. But overall, still an enjoyable experience. What do you guys rate out of 5?
I would give it. I would almost be tempted to give it a 5 out of 5, right? But I am going to give it a 4.5 because of that fucking stupid aspect ratio.
I will give it a 4.5 because of that stupid fucking Flash character.
Yeah, I would. I think 4.5 is I would give it 5 as well, Mo. But I think 4.5 is the right grading for this film. I mean, it's the best one. Yeah. When I think about the Justice League, it's like the best Justice League we're ever gonna see, right? And maybe even just for that, it deserves a 5, right?
Yeah. It's not that it's the best Justice League. Having now watched Man of Steel, BVS, and this, I just like the way that it just is a very it's a epic story. It's like Lord of the Rings, right? It is like one film into the next, and there are things that happen in like earlier films that do reflect later on.
Yeah, definitely succeeds in being epic and being big. Yeah,
is it too late to like put this in the list for some category in the Oscars?
Jesus Christ! Imagine that.
What maybe like a monumental achievement award?
You never know. Yeah, so I guess that's pretty much what we're gonna do this week. But it works out. It's over an hour. So yeah, Mo, how can I get in contact with us if you wish to do so?
Well, folks, if you want to email us, we are at tatmpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to tweet us, we are Talking Movies 3. And if you want to follow us on Instagram, we are Talking at the Movies.
That's right. And don't forget, check out Voltron Network on YouTube. What's the video version of this? So from me, Eddie Race.
When your boy Salem.
I knew it.
And me, Mo.
See you guys next week. Later.
Peace.